Hello my friends and welcome back. I hope you are doing great and ready for the new video. This is the first video of the new series. In this series I'm going to talk about the Retrofit library, and I'm going to show you how to use Retrofit library to manage the API requests. If you are ready, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button and give me a thumbs up, and let's get started. For this video, I'm going to use this website, which is jsonplaceholder.typicode.com. This website provides us a free API to test the HTTP request. We are using the Retrofit to manage the connection between our application and the remote database through the internet. Like all of the databases, we need some options to use to send data, to update the data, and to delete the data. And these are the annotations of the HTTP request. Get is like sending the data. Get is like retrieving the data. Post is the sending data, put is updating, patch is another type of updating, and delete is like deleting the data. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use get annotation, and this URL, the address of the website, is called base URL, and if we add this part, which calls endpoint, just like this, to this address and press enter, we will achieve this data, and we are going to retrieve this data, which is user ID, title, and body. It's random text just, and we are showing them in some text views in our application. So let's go back to the Android Studio and I will show you how to. For having a HTTP request, you need 7 steps. Actually, I have decided this to 7 steps, and I'm going to tell you these steps, and we will create like the standard structure to do this. And if you follow this and learn it, later if you want to use dependency injection or model view, MVVM, MVP, and every architecture, you can use this frame, this architecture, and implement all of those options to this architecture as well. For this, I'm going to use the viewBinding, and we need these dependencies. These 2 lines for the retrofit and these 2 lines for the coroutines. If you don't know about coroutines, don't worry. I'm just going to use 2 or 3 small parts of it, and I'm going to explain them for you. And it's good to learn it. You can write these dependencies, or you can find them down below in the description box. After syncing the app, the next step, so that was the first step. The next step is to go to the manifest and add the internet permission. Without it, the app will be crashing all the time. Okay, that was the second step. And you need a layout. So I didn't count this layout design as the steps, but you need it. I'm going to zoom a bit for you and slowly scrolling down. Feel free to pause the video and copy the text, and also you can find the source code in my GitHub page, linked down below in the description as always. The idea is to have these 4 text views and a progress bar here in the middle of the screen. Before catching the data, the progress bar is visible, and after that all of these text views will be visible and the progress bar will be invisible. We don't need this anymore. in the main activity, I have written this code to manage the view binding, and we don't need it right now. Let's go to the next step. The next step is to have a data class to hold the data. So I'm going to press new, create a new package, calling it models. Here in this specific video and application, we have only one data class. But if you have a real application, so you are going to have maybe up to 20, 50, I don't know, even more data classes to hold the data. So you need this package as the models, and all of the data classes should be stored in this package. Here in the website, I have 4 items. I have to create the data class and store these variables inside it, but there is a better way instead of writing them by hand. I'm going to copy this and going back to the Android Studio. Here, when I'm clicking on the new, I have this plugin. If you don't have it, go to the file, to the setting, to the plugins, and here just type JSON to Kotlin in the marketplace. And you will see it. I have installed it, and you just need to install it and you can use it. Then after right click, you will achieve this. Just click on it and paste the data that you had, the sample, and you need a name for it. I'm going to call it user and generate. Voila, we have our data class here, ready to use. Data class, the name user, and all of the variables are here. Body is a string and the ID integer, title a string, user ID integer. Zooming for you to show you. The next step is to have an interface to have connection to the API. So here, new Kotlin class interface, and I'm going to call it API interface. Zooming. We need a function here, a suspend function, because right now we are not going to use it, and later when we are calling the API request, we will use it. So for now it's suspended. I'm going to call it get user, and then response, and remember to click this one, retrofit to, not this OK HTTP. And here we have to mention the class user. Okay, the retrofit library is imported here, and now here we need the get annotation. So at sign get, and here we have to write the end point, which was string type slash post slash 1. And we are done here in the API interface, and the next step will be another class, and here again we need the object, and I'm going to call it Utils. For this also we need a new package first. And then inside it, I'm going to create this class. Okay, inside this object, we are creating a constant value to have the base URL. So I'm going to call it base. And you can copy and paste the base URL here. Okay, we have it here, and you can write you can create actually the value of API here, but I prefer to have it separated in another object. So for this, I'm going to create another object, and this will be the next step. And I'm going to call it retrofit instance. Here we need the value. I'm going to call it API, and the type of it is API interface. This is the instance of this interface, and then by lazy. This lazy is kind of like the lateness variable. That means we are not going to initialize this value right now, but later when we are calling it, we will initialize it. And here we need the retrofit dot builder, and then dot base URL. It was in the utils dot base, and then dot add a converter factory gson converter factory dot create, and then dot build, then dot create. And we have to mention again this interface, API interface ;: class dot Java. Now we have the instance of our API, and we can call it wherever we need it. And I'm going to call it in the main activity. So if you are confused about this line of code, this is just creating a converter to convert the JSON type file, and this is the JSON type, to a kind of code that SDK can understand. Okay. The next step is to merging all of these classes and objects in the main activity. So for this, I'm going to use the coroutines now. Global scope dot launch, and here dispatchers dot io. IO stands for the interaction with the data, so it's separating this thread from the main thread, and this will be the data thread. Okay. Inside it, we need to check if the response has a body or not. So I'm going to use try catch for this, and we need two catches here. First of all, one for the HTTP exception, and if you had any error during the connection with the server and everything, the error will come here. And another one for the like, let's say, application errors, and IO exception. For example, when we don't have internet or internet permission or something like that, we have the error here. I'm going to write two toast messages here. Okay, and later return launch again. Here the same, return launch. And now here we are going to call the retrofit instance dot API dot get user. Let's say this line of code is the merge point of all of these classes. And if there is no problem here, the user will be fetching from the website and storing into this response. And now we have to display it in the text views. Again, we have to check if we have a value here or not. So I'm going to write if response dot is successful, and response dot body is not equal to null. Then we are going to extract the data. Here I'm going to use another part of the coroutines. So with context dispatchers.main, and this is going to create the view for us. Without this, we will get error and we cannot display anything or changing anything in the view. So here we can write binding dot apply. If you don't know how to work with viewBinding, you can click on this link and watch the playlist about the viewBinding. Then you can use it. Here, first of all, I have to make this progress bar invisible. So let me check the ID of the progress bar. There is no ID for it. Okay, now we can use it. And we need all of them here. But we have to reverse them. So visible and the rest gone. So at the beginning that the app is launching, we will see the progress bar and the other stuff are gone. Then it will be reversed. And now we can here set the data on them. So TV ID dot text equals to response dot body dot ID dot toString. We don't need this actually, but we have to check if it's null or not. Okay, just like this. And the same for the rest. User ID and here user ID. TV title and here title. TV body and here body. And these are not a string, so we don't need them. These are strings and we don't need them, but these two items were integers, so we need to change them to the string. Everything is done, and okay, let's check it on the emulator. Okay, the progress bar is gone, and we have like the ID and the user ID and the text. Here we can do a small change to make it better. Uh, and if you want, you can do the same for the rest. Let's check it again. Now we have like ID and user ID here, and you can have the title and the body here as well. Okay, that was everything about the get HTTP request. And as you saw, we fetched all of this data, this single item, and displayed them in the text views. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how to extract this array of the data and display them in a recycler view in your application. And later in other videos, I'm going to show you all of these types of HTTP requests. And that's it. I hope you are enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed the channel, please hit the subscribe button and the bell button to be aware about the next videos, and give me a thumbs up to help this video be watched by more people. And if you have any question and any comment, please write down below in the description box, in the comment box, and I will be so happy to answer to your question. Thank you. Bye bye.